the mind virus.
My favorite.
I've seen interrogators mess this up so much because they actually bluff, and you can't bluff when you're doing it. And there's a thin line there, right? So people understand planning a mind virus is like saying, is there any reason somebody would have told me they saw you on that corner last night at 10 o'clock? Okay, that's planning a mind virus. Bluffing is saying,
one of the neighbors.
We know you were.
We know you were on that corner last night because a neighbor said so. If they weren't there, you've lost control of the interview.
Yeah. Totally.
You've lost all momentum now because you lied and you're caught in a lie.
Remember, interrogation's about approaches. It's about psychology and and one of the levers we called "We Know All" is we come in with a file. Looks like we know a bunch of stuff, and we would then claim to know something. And I would do exactly that. There's any reason you would have been on the corner, boom, boom. And I would always teach my guys the number one failure mode is that last step you take too far. You go from we know all to we don't know.
So even a folder, just a notebook or a folder full of random forensic looking documents that says DNA or traffic cameras or something like that on it, that folder in itself can sit there and just be a mind virus throughout the entire interview. Yep. And one thing with the mind virus, I think it's important to set it up. So like if there's a murder in a neighborhood, I want to set this up really, really carefully to where it has maximum power. So I'm going to say, John, thanks for coming in today. I'm really glad you're here. We've got officers ever since last night canvassing the entire neighborhood, talking to every single person that they can. And they've got a ton of information that's just flooding in right now. So I'm going to set it up there. Yep. Yeah, the Ring doorbell camera videos. There's a ton of stuff coming in right now. And John, I do like you as a person. But please, I want you to think very, very carefully before you answer this question. And then I'll throw the mind virus question out. And I think it's got a lot more punch. When you set it up.
You have
like
to
that.
frame it.
We talk about that, and we compare. It's like comparing motorcycles or cars with about what we've got in our packets. I call it the thud factor. The louder that thing is, boy, the more power it has because you walk in, boom, and you throw it on the thing, and they may not see it right then, but they know something big is in there, and you'll just talk, and they'll see their name on this and a bunch of files in there.
I had Burger King coupons in mine at one point.
Well, it's taught all over the world. That technique is taught all over the world.
And those little, even back when there were DVDs were big, I still got these, and you can just peel the tape off and then put whatever it is, their full name, first, middle, and last name, put it in that little pile too, and bang, put it down on there and wrap it in a little plastic and have it sitting there. And you don't have to say anything about it, but they'll be looking at it. I don't ever put it in their reach where they can reach and get it, but they'll look at it as you're talking to them, and as they're thinking, they'll get loose from you and they'll just look at it. And say,
you get one of these as they're talking, like, I guess we go over there, I guess like every week or two, and you'll see them they see their name on there.
It's really fun when you go out of the room and they can't get to it, they're cuffed or whatever. You leave it on the table and just watch them on the camera because it's crazy body language.
But the opposite end to that, the kind of amateur end is as you were saying, bluffing with the specific. Because the more you go, hey, well, John saw you on the street corner, they will go, well, John's an idiot. Like, who believes John?
Or he's out of the country, right?
They will tear down your bluff very, very simply. But when you've got something that is kind of in the ether a little bit more, it's just hanging in the air, their brain is trying to do a whole bunch of calculations of what do you have? What can I destroy? Is it credible? Is it not credible? That really you've put their brain into too much cognitive load, first of all.
Yeah. The value to me of asking that question, is there any reason somebody would have told me they saw you there last night? If they take 5 to 7 seconds to answer that question.
Oh, yeah.
Damn good chance they were on that corner last night, because they got to think security cameras, neighbor, I heard a car go by.
Right.
If they weren't there, they can say, that'd be really strange because I goddamn sure was not there.
Yeah. Let's tie all this back together. You just did it. And when I ask you that question and you're talking about what they're doing in their head, watch your eyes. Your eyes are moving everywhere. Yeah. We're back to that original thing. Were you there at 7 o'clock last night? Hell no, I wasn't there. Not,
right.
No, No, I wasn't.
So that eye movement is showing the cognitive load. You can see.
There.
They're thinking of, okay, is it possible they could know that? And they're evaluating.
Well, they're running so many scenarios at the same time that then if you then jump in with a question you want to know the answer to, and it's easy for them to answer, they'll just blurt it out.
Yeah.
Well, there's a thing I call looking for change. When you get a person in a bind, and you do it all the time on your show, and you see them go down left, down right, down left, down right, you've got them patched, because what they're doing is they're getting to an emotional state and thinking about what does that mean, and that searching for change mindset. You've got them, and it's just so powerful when you.
So, since we're on the podcast today, we were in the green room watching this, and Dr. Phil, you've got somebody in just about pre-confession mode, where they're almost at this perfect point of melting. And all of us, like we were watching the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
we're in the green room.
You got to go watch.
You got it.
It's like, next time we need popcorn. We need popcorn.
You got it. Because you had it right there. You had it right there, and you went like this. Anyway.
Well, you let her have the,
we're like,
you gave her some space. It was beautiful.
This is what I get into a lot in interrogation. With her, I don't want to destroy her credibility. I'm wanting to determine whether she's lying about this specific thing or not, without destroying her entire credibility, because I want her to get him out of jail, because I think she lied.
We agree.
I believe she lied. So I want to establish her as a liar, but not destroy her as a credible witness. So there's a tightrope you're having to walk.
That's tough. That's very tough.
And that's why I said, tell me other lies you've told in your life. I want to establish her as a gold star liar, but not as somebody that the judge would completely dismiss as being non-credible in any fashion whatsoever. And that's a tightrope to walk.
You get a lot of drama folks on your show, and that you have to do a lot of that, because you got to keep their life intact. And still get to the truth. And it's kind of crazy.
I got a funny story to go with that video. The other day, and you two already know this one. So when we first got that video and you sent it over, I watched maybe the first minute and a half, almost 2 minutes. It's like 6 minutes long. And I was like, I'm done with this. She's being honest here. There's nothing there. So I put it down, and I go upstairs and, eat a bowl of cereal or something. Greg calls. I got a minute. What are you doing? I said, hey man, how's it going? He said, did you watch that video? And I said, well, I watched the first half of it. He said, you didn't see the last half? And I said, last part? I said, no. He goes, oh, okay. Well, you need to watch the last half. And then he said, I got to go, and hung up. And I was like, I missed it. I totally saw this, and whatever's down there, I missed it. And the entire day, my wife was asking me, are you okay? What's going on? I was like,
mind virus.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know.
Not intentionally.
I'm okay. And I was rethinking what am I doing? Who am I? What's happening here? Where are we? Why am I in my life? And then I watched it, and I was like, yeah, I see. And I called and said, what the hell are you talking about? Yeah, I see this here. And he goes, yeah, it's something else. And
I said, didn't you see all that grief? And
I was like, yeah, I did. And
I told him, no big deal. He's like, no, it is. I've been walking through.
Oh man,
the Target today.
I just thought, I've rethought everything. I thought coming here is just, I don't know what I'm talking to do. I was going to have a meeting and the whole thing. And we're going to talk about this. I don't know what I'm doing.
I had a guy in my training one time who he was working with me. He didn't believe in mind viruses. He's like, you can't do this. So the next day, I called him at a time that I knew it would go to voicemail. I said, hey man, they released everything. They're putting everything out on the internet as we speak. Please call me back as soon as possible. And I didn't answer my phone the rest of the day.
Powerful.
So that evening he calls me and he's like, dude, I can't find anything. I've called 3 private investigators. I'm having them search the internet. What are you talking about? Who's releasing? I was like, the Wall Street Journal. They're just putting out the news of the day. They're releasing everything with the news. What do you think I was talking about? I got to demonstrate it. It was so beautiful. I wish I recorded that stuff.
That's great.
It's so effective that we default, like Mark always says, it's more healthy and safe for us to default to negative.
Pat insufficient data, we default to a negative. So if you tell somebody something or give them some information and there is stuff missing, their brain won't go, oh good, there's stuff missing. Well, that's a really good thing. I think we're all going to be safe. It goes, well, that's going to be a massive problem then, isn't it? And for some people, it will actually catastrophize. So it'll go, the world is ending. And
that's
it'll
the
take
rock
them.
And bear.
Absolutely.
That's the rock and bear.
And go through that for a second.
Yeah, so the rock and bear theory is, if your ancestors thought rocks or bears were rocks, they didn't reproduce. If your ancestors thought that rocks were bears, they were afraid, but they reproduced. So that's part of the problem, is that we as human beings, and I don't mean millions of years, I'm talking thousands of years, if your family's too stupid to figure out that a bear is not a rock, they didn't keep going.
Well, and that's
So
that's
a
really
pattern
important.
finding thing in human beings too.
Yeah.
And the reason that's so important is that when you are reading body language, understand it can get quite confusing. There's a lot going on. And when we get confused, we default to negatives, not positives. So most of your life, you'll be walking around the planet, you'll see other human beings, they'll be doing stuff. Your instinct will go, I don't quite know what's going on here.
But it doesn't look
Let's
good.
make up a bad story, not a good story.
Yeah.
Now, it could be bad or it could be good. But one of the important things you've got to do is go, well, it could be bad. My instinct feels that it's bad, but I'm probably in quite a safe place at the moment. I could also presume it's good at the same time and find out a little bit more. Now, if you're in a really unsafe position, go with your instinct that goes, yeah, this is really bad. Let's get the hell out of here. But if you're in a good position, you've got plenty of resource around you, you've got friends, you feel safe, then you can think a little more carefully about some of those instincts that you have.